Hello and welcome back to this channel. We're going to be speaking on different perspectives, tools that you might be able to use in order to help alleviate some of the symptoms of depression that you might be experiencing. And this is all just based off of my own experience and what has worked for me. So this might not apply to everybody, but this is for the people who resonate with what I'm sharing. If you could give somebody who is experiencing a hardship in their life some advice that helped you on your journey, what would you tell them?
Love yourself. And be gentle on yourself. This hardship of life is just a passage of time. God will see you through. You are an angel of light, of truth, and of love. Sometimes we have to go through the fire. 7 times refined to become the crystal of life that we are. And I love you. And it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay.
Oyinlade Okotie Oyakon. Tick, tick, boom. You're waiting for the big thing, when citywide sirens ring to finally let you know that letting natural gas go is the right thing to do. But my siren's been going on 92. You see, for me, the crisis you await has happened and happened and happened again. The big thing, the doomsday, the apocalyptic end is our everyday in every way, from climate to health to housing. After the heat waves, the wildfires, and the racism in between, I don't need another reason, but you need many, it seems. Tick, tick, boom. What will it take? Greedy greenwashing schemes to finally disappoint? Another black or brown body dead for your data points? No. Seize this opportunity. Pass a clean building mandate. Don't make black and brown communities continue to have to wait through another disaster, another crisis, another stillborn in the womb. Let's dwell in possibility, not paralysis. Tick, tick, boom.
love to address when I speak on depression is that the word depression holds a lot of energy, and it means a lot of different things. You might be experiencing sadness, you might be experiencing fear, you might be experiencing anger, you might be experiencing numbness. So there's a lot of emotions that go with it and a lot of things that lead to those feelings that are coming up within you. Throughout my life experience, I've felt this depression, right? And it was very challenging, and I didn't really know very much. All I knew is that I felt badly and I felt it often. I was okay with just letting people know I'm depressed. I was okay with just going into dark spaces and spending most of my day in bed. The longer I sat in that, the more it hurt to not experience the joy of life. And the more I felt badly about not doing the things that genuinely brought me joy. So I wanted to alleviate myself from that, and I didn't want to experience depression, and I'm sure nobody really wants to experience it, but at the same time, it's like you're experiencing it. There's not much that you feel you can do about it. But I learned that there was a lot that I could do about it, and one of the first steps that I took was to look deeply into what was really going on. Instead of just saying, I'm depressed, I started to explore what my depression was really about, what was really going on. So I decided to switch the video up a bit. It was really wet outside before and pretty freezing. My toes were basically completely numb. I left off talking about how depression is just a word that we have agreed upon, and when you start to explore a little bit deeper, you start to see that it has a lot of different meanings, and it's very unique for each individual. I'm just going to give you some examples of what that might look like. Let's just say that you're somebody who experiences social anxiety, but you also at the same time have a longing to connect with people. So it's not that you don't want to be around individuals and share a life experience with them or share commonalities. It's just that every time that you do, maybe your heart starts to race, maybe you feel out of place, maybe you just feel so overwhelmed that you become very discouraged. That is something that is pretty common, I feel, with people who experience depression. So one thing that I feel has helped me is kind of noticing and becoming aware of what it is that makes me feel uncomfortable in social settings. Maybe you're just a sensitive person. Like, things just kind of overwhelm you. Too much stimuli might be overwhelming to you. Are you somebody who just can't handle really loud noises? Are you somebody who doesn't like to be physically touched? Are you somebody who feels uncomfortable starting conversations? Are you somebody who is fearful of not knowing what might happen? So maybe a friend invites you to a gathering, but you have no idea what kind of gathering this is, and it would bring you much more peace of mind having the specific details of what might go down at said gathering. There are many things that you can do to just ease the pressure. For example, you might get a little bit more specific details about any event that you go to. You might avoid events that are extremely loud. Maybe you can bring earplugs to an event that is extremely loud. Maybe you can bring a friend as a support system. There's also the option of making sure that what you're participating in is something that generally brings you a sense of calm, a feeling of peace. What I like to do when I go into spaces is bring something that I enjoy doing. No matter what it is, I'll always bring something small, maybe like a small sketch pad and a pen, and I'll just draw and I'll do my thing if I start to get a little bit overwhelmed with with being in that space. Maybe the emotion that you're experiencing is anger. If you are storing anger in the body and that is building up over time, then you might become resentful towards yourself and towards others. You might say, do, and think things that are not in alignment with how you wish to truly express your heart, and things are to just add a character. And you might end up hurting yourself and others. For me personally, when I am experiencing really deep anger or sadness or frustration, I have to be alone to truly express myself, to truly let it out. Maybe you're expressing to somebody what made you angry, but you're filtering your expression of this anger because you might not be as inclined to speak your truth and to speak the reasons why you're truly angry in the fullness if you're speaking to another. Maybe because of fear of judgment or fear of not being fully received or heard. The person that's listening to you is also listening to you from their perspective and through their lens. That might make you feel like you're not being fully received or you're not fully processing within yourself. That's why it's really important to, yes, receive guidance and help from others, but to also recognize the power of expressing and releasing what you have within you to yourself. Then it can go unfiltered. Then you can just fully release and receive yourself in the fullness. Another emotion that I mentioned, fear. Maybe you are fearful to express your emotions because you never had a safe space and you associated the expression of emotions to punishment, perhaps from childhood or even beyond that. Sometimes you learn these behaviors later on in life. It would serve to affirm to yourself that you are no longer in danger, that you are free to express the way that you feel without punishment, so that you can start to open yourself, so that you can start to re-establish something within your body, because your body is storing all of these memories, and it truly does believe and react to the reality of being punished for expressing emotion, for expressing the way that you feel in any given moment. And so in order to shift that, we first have to become aware of that, and then we have to start making small incremental changes so that you can teach the body something new. Maybe you truly are not in a safe space to express your emotions. Maybe you are somebody who will experience some form of punishment, whether it be verbal, physically, emotionally, for expressing the way that you feel. In this kind of situation, you will have to really assess what it is you have to do in order to put yourself in a safe space. It is very important for you to be safe. It is very important for you to make the decisions that you must in order to be in that safe space. So ask yourself, is this serving me? What can I do in order to put myself in a better environment? What am I willing to acknowledge and let go of in order to be in a safe environment? There's so many avenues for you to go so that you can receive a safe environment. You are very important, so consider that as you move forward, okay? Now let's move to sadness. I just want to say that anything that you're feeling is absolutely understandable. It's important to be validated in the way that you feel. And life isn't always easy. We go through ups and downs, and oftentimes we have to lose things. We lose people, we lose ourselves, we lose our sense of self, we lose opportunities, we lose objects that mean a lot to us and that are associated to really deep and beautiful memories that you cherish. And oftentimes, only you know in your heart what something truly means to you. And the best anybody can ever do is to do their best to understand what something means to you. And if you don't feel like you're being received in that way, then maybe you have to let people go. You have to let go of memories that you held dear in your heart. When we feel a sense of loss, we become really sad. And sadness is it's just going to happen. Sadness is going to happen. When we're depressed, sometimes our sadness just gets a hold of us. And no matter what we do, we can't get out of this. So what can you do but just accept the fact that you're experiencing it? You don't really have much drive to go and pretend to be happy. And sometimes you have to pretend to be happy, which makes you even more sad. And it might even play tricks on you. You might even start to believe that this false sense of happiness is true happiness, and you might not even realize that you're sad. You might be suppressing a lot of sadness within you. The suppression of emotion, it can be detrimental on the body. So, how to express sadness and how to effectively express it. That's something that you should explore. What is an effective way for you personally to express your sadness? Sometimes I like to express my sadness or the way that I'm feeling, which usually just leads to sadness, I'm finding, in like a voice memo. I'll just make a voice memo, or I like to write it down, or I like to just relate to others, like just listen to videos like this and see what other people have to say about sadness and see if I can gain some clarity through another perspective. But it's okay to be sad. Like, it can be very liberating to explore your sadness and just allow it to be present. Feel it. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Take another deep breath. Keep doing that until you can see it inside your body. Just explore different ways to realize what it is, where it's coming from. Why is it so deep? Where did this sadness come from? Can you root it to some life experience that kept perpetuating itself in your life? So let's say that you're going to an event. You've decided, you've told the people that care about you and that really want you to be present that you're going. And you feel like you can't back out now. You can emotionally prepare by doing things that are going to help you regulate your emotions. So let's say the event is Friday and it's Monday. Throughout this week, make sure that you are doing things that are in alignment with emotional regulation, so that by the time it's time to go, you have done practices that have allowed you to free up a bit. So maybe every single day up until the event, you do a 10 to 20 minute meditation. Maybe every day or every other day before the event or before this, whatever it is that you're going to be participating in, you do a little bit of stretching. to open up your muscles, open up your energy flow so that it can calm you. That's going to be a great practice for your own well-being. Stretching really does release a lot of emotions that are stored in the muscles, in the cells, and it allows for just a clear state of mind. So yeah, I highly recommend stretching. Another way to emotionally prepare is to address the way that you're feeling. Maybe do a little journal entry at the end of the day and just write down any emotions that came up. And not for any motive, just for the sake of getting it out on paper. All these ways are good ways to just prepare yourself emotionally. How can we mentally prepare ourselves? So mentally preparing can look like positively affirming yourself on a regular basis. At the start of the day, affirm to yourself, today I will be open to tending to my needs first and foremost. Today I will celebrate my personal experience. Today I honor the way that I feel throughout my experience. Mentally preparing might look like calling up a friend and finding reasons to be joyful about it, finding ways to align yourself to the energy of what you're going to be participating in. For me, spiritual preparation is just becoming very quiet internally and just being in nature is my way of spiritually preparing myself. Connecting to Mother Nature, connecting to the vastness around me is what makes me feel so in tune with my spirit. I like to commune with different plant medicines too, so just maybe drinking a simple cup of tea in nature or listening to nature sounds while drinking my tea just helps me get into the present moment and just brings me back into my body and back into a state of great appreciation for everything that's within me and everything that's around me. I also really like to use incense to spiritually attune myself. I love the smell of frankincense. I love the smell of myrrh. And usually I'll buy those resins at an apothecary and I'll get like a charcoal. And I'll use like just a fraction of it. I'll break it into 4 different pieces and it's like a small disc like this. And I just let it up and I put the frankincense and the myrrh in there. You can do like dragon's blood resin. You can also do copal. There's all kinds of different incense that you can use, or you can even just use a simple incense stick. That of course that works great. Like when I use the incense stick, I like to watch the smoke trail from the end of the stick, and it just creates this really beautiful smoky trail, and it's very mesmerizing to watch it. But mostly just being really present with myself and sitting in silence, noticing and listening to all the thoughts that are flowing through in my mind and not letting them control the way I feel about myself and the way I feel about my spirit. The spirit is just love. It's pure love. It's just pure awareness. Breathing into your body is one of the most powerful tools to attune to your spirit. I like to breathe into my chakras, and actually this sculpture behind me has a perfect representation. So I'll show you. This bottom one would be representative of your sacral chakra at the base of your spine. And then this one would be behind your navel. This is the solar plexus chakra. And you could find it like right here. And then the green one is your heart chakra. And the one above that, which is like blue, is right here in your throat chakra. And then that purple one is right here, your third eye is what they call it. And chakras have many different names, but I'm just going to do like the generic names. So this is behind your eyes in the center of your head. And then you also have one at the top of your head. Within the body, it's a like nerve cluster, basically, an energy center that is expressed as a wheel. Breathing into these spaces can create balance within your emotional body, can create balance within your physical body, it creates balance within your mental body. It's just a very powerful thing. Whether it's mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, it's all one. And so even though we're focusing on like these specific parts, all of these are going to come together into one thing, and they're always going to be entwined in one. All of these different aspects of yourself cannot be separate from one another. So this is just something that you can try out, and I'll definitely be talking about this in later videos as well. So I lightly touched base on tuning yourself spiritually, and specifically on just allowing your thoughts to be present without allowing them to control you and how you feel about yourself. So becoming aware without identifying with all the thought forms, whether they be good or bad, and getting into this state of presence where although you are experiencing all these thoughts, you are letting go of the belief, and you are letting go of the narratives, and you are not giving so much attention to the narratives as much as you are redirecting yourself back into the breath, back into a state of presence, back into a state of awareness. So being aware of the thoughts without grasping, without following them, without believing in them, without creating these narratives. And when you start meditating, you might find yourself going down this rabbit hole of thought forms while you're actively being present, while you're actively letting go of those thought forms. You might get into that state, and then 5 minutes down this rabbit hole of, you might be having a full-blown argument with somebody in your mind. You're like, oh, I just realized that you followed the narrative, you followed the thought form. And when you're meditating, that is so common. That is inevitable. So the trick is, when you are in a state of meditation, is that you don't judge yourself for that, but you come back into that state of presence, into that state of just beingness, of just observation, and you continue to practice. So this is something that many different individuals, they share their guidance. So the guided meditations that are available that I really like to listen to are that of Mooji and Eckhart Tolle. And then there are some others that I listen to that I'm not necessarily familiar with who is actually guiding them. But I will leave the links. I will leave a couple links in the description box. If you are interested, you can take a deeper look in there and see what it's all about, and see if it's something that is actually helping you and something that feels good for you in this moment. And it's always really important to do what's appropriate, to go at your own pace, and to just honor where you're at. It's okay to be wherever you are. If you're not even ready to go into a state of meditation, if you're not ready to explore chakras, if that's not something that interests you, then completely and totally honor yourself where you're at. But if you are open to that, then please feel free to explore deeper, do your own research, and share anything in the comments below. Share anything that's on your heart, express to one another. Feel free to comment and share whatever is on your heart, whatever's on your mind. Subscribe to the channel if you felt as though this was helpful to you in any way. We deserve to be happy. We deserve to experience freedom from suffering.